Have you ever felt like the tiniest bit of criticism, or even the idea that someone might be upset with you, hits like a punch in the chest? You replay it over and over and over in your head. Your stomach churns, your brain won't let it go, and suddenly you're spiraling, even if the other person barely noticed. If you're ADHD, that's not being too sensitive. That's something called Rejection Sensitive Dysphoria. And if you're ADHD, it can shape your entire life. Hi, I'm Jess, that AuDHD mum. I'm here to help you understand your neurodivergent brain. On this channel, I share what life really looks like when you've got autism and ADHD, and why so many of our struggles get mislabeled or misunderstood. Today, we're talking about RSD, Rejection Sensitive Dysphoria. We'll cover what it might feel like, why it happens in AuDHD brains, how it shows up in daily life, and some strategies that might help to soften the blow. Because here's the truth. RSD isn't about being weak or dramatic. It's about how our brains process threat, belonging, and rejection. Let's start with the lived experience, because if you felt it, you will know exactly what I mean. Imagine you're at work and your manager says, "This report could have been clearer." For most people, there's probably just a small bit of feedback. For someone that's struggling with RSD, it might feel like the floor is just dropped from beneath them. Your stomach twists, your heart races. You might even feel hot or dizzy. It might even feel like actual pain. Then comes the replay loop. You go over that single sentence again and again. Did they sound angry? Did I mess everything up? Are they going to think I'm incompetent? Should I apologise? Maybe I should just quit. And the thing is, the triggers don't even have to be obvious criticism. Sometimes it's being left on read, or a friend taking a bit longer to reply. Sometimes it's a colleague not smiling back in the corridor. And sometimes it's nothing at all, just the thought that maybe someone's disappointed in you. ADHD clinicians like Dr. William Dodson describe RSD as emotional pain so intense that it feels physical. People with ADHD often rank it as one of their hardest difficulties, even sometimes above the focus problem. And the outcomes are that we usually end up in one of these three places: shutdown, where we end up withdrawing completely; meltdowns, where we're crying, snapping at others and getting really defensive; or it might be overcompensation, people-pleasing, over-apologising, trying desperately to fix things. If you're nodding along right now, you're not imagining it. That's the lived reality of RSD. So why does this happen? Let's talk brain science. On the ADHD side, our brains struggle to regulate emotions. The dopamine and reward pathways are different, so signals of social loss or failure feel far bigger than they do for neurotypicals. It's like the brain hits a panic button at the first whiff of disapproval. On the autistic side, we often have a deep need for predictability and belonging. Social interactions already feel confusing, so when rejection enters the picture, it isn't just unpleasant. It can feel like actual danger. Safety, stability, predictability, they all get shaken. Now put the two together. AuDHD means our emotional regulation systems are already sensitive, and our need for belonging and clarity is already strong. So small signals of rejection set off massive alarms. Research even backs this up. Studies show that people with ADHD have heightened activity in brain regions linked to rejection and social pain. Autistic people often describe social exclusion as overwhelming even when it's really subtle. The best way to imagine it? It's like a smoke alarm that blasts at full volume for burnt toast. The tiniest wisp of smoke, real or imagined, and suddenly your whole nervous system is on red alert. Now let's look at how RSD might show up in real life. At work or school, you might avoid feedback completely, or you might spend way too long making something look perfect so nobody can criticize you. Some of us might even quit jobs or projects because the thought of the criticism and the thought of the rejection is just unbearable. In friendships, maybe you've texted a friend and they didn't reply quick enough. Suddenly your brain is screaming at you. They hate me, I must have upset them. What did I do wrong? You might pull away. Flood them with follow-up messages. Parenting, and obviously this one's quite personal to me right now. When someone makes an offhand comment like, you're too strict, or even you're too soft, it doesn't just feel like feedback. It feels like an attack on my entire worth as a mum. And once that spiral starts, it's really hard to shake. In relationships, tone of voice becomes a minefield. A sigh, a slightly blunt reply, or a partner needing space can trigger panic, shutdown, or an argument. And here's the kicker. Studies show that rejection activates the same brain circuits as physical pain. So when you feel gutted by a tiny comment, it's not in your head. Your brain literally processes it as pain. Long-term, RSD can shape your choices. You might avoid opportunities where failure is possible. You might constantly people please to avoid any risk of disapproval. And over time, that chips away at your self-esteem and makes life feel a lot smaller than it should. So what actually helps? Well, there's no magic fix, but these strategies might make a difference. Number one, name it. When you know it's RSD, you can say to yourself, this is a dysphoria reaction, not actual rejection. Naming it takes away some of the power. 2, pause and regulate your body. RSD is a nervous system storm. Try grounding yourself. Notice 5 things around you. Try deep breathing or move your body to burn off the adrenaline. 3, reframe your thoughts. Replace I'm being rejected by I'm feeling rejected, but that doesn't mean that I am. This creates space between the feeling and the fact. Number 4, have boundaries with your communication. Do not fire off emotional responses mid-spiral. Write it down, save it in notes, even send yourself a voice note. Come back to it later when your nervous system has calmed, and then you can respond. Number 5 is to have safe people. Explain RSD to the people closest to you, saying, if I seem distant after feedback, it's probably not you, it's probably my RSD. And that might just reduce some misunderstandings. And lastly, number 6, perhaps the most important one in my opinion, have self-compassion. Remind yourself that you're not broken, you're not lazy, you're not dramatic. Your brain is wired this way. The goal isn't to erase RSD, but to work with it. Therapies like CBT or DBT have good evidence for helping with emotional regulation. ADHD coaching often focuses on practical tools to pause, reframe, and externalize feelings. And here's where I like to be real. I'm not perfect at this either. I still struggle with RSD pretty regularly. One strategy that I am personally trying is delaying my responses. If I feel rejected, I give myself at least an hour before I respond. Sometimes that 1 hour ends up saving me days of spiraling. What about you? Maybe it's grounding exercises. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's letting a safe person know when you're in a spiral. Finding your mix matters. So RSD is brutal. It's exhausting, it's painful, and it's invisible to most people around us. But you're not broken for feeling this way. Your brain is wired to feel rejection more deeply, and recognizing that is the first step to breaking the shame spiral. With the right tools, RSD doesn't have to control your life. You can learn to pause, to reframe, and to show yourself the compassion that you deserve. I've made free resources for our AuDHD brains. You can download them through the link in the description. If this video resonated with you, please don't forget to hit subscribe, like, and let me know in the comments below. What's one situation where RSD hits you the hardest? Work, friendships, parenting? Regardless, you're not alone. I post weekly about AuDHD life, parenting, strategies, the science, and I've also got a monthly newsletter which you can sign up to on my website or down in my Stan store. I'm Jess, that AuDHD mum. Let's make this space make sense for our brains.